welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be doing a video about books I want to reread. So as we go along, leave comments below if you have read any of these books, any books you've read that you want to reread, or books that you've already reread and loved that I should read. Pardon me, short intermission there. My dog started barking at my neighbors. Okay, rereading books. So recently, the new edition of Verity came out by Colleen Hoover with the bonus chapter, and I reread it. I went to the store, bought it, and started rereading it that day. Before that, I was in a pretty bad book slump. I did a readathon in September where I read a ton of books in 1 week. And I don't know if it was that or starting my new job or what. But after that, I was just like, I didn't want to read anything. I didn't want to listen to anything. And the book I picked up next, I didn't enjoy. And I put it aside and DNF'd it. And I do want to get back to that book because I think I was just in a really bad state. But I was like, I know I love Verity, so I'm going to reread it before I read the bonus chapter. And it got me out of my slump. I read this so quick. I've read 2 whole books since then, which is not a ton, but it's a lot for me. I do work full time and I'm tired sometimes. But this, I think, helped me get out of my reading slump. So then I was like, wow, rereading that book it just made me more excited to read again. I felt incredible after that. So I was like, I want to reread a bunch of books. I'll probably wait until I'm in a slump again and reread one of my favorite books. But I wanted to make a list of them. So that's what I did. So one of the books I love, and want to reread, it's part of a series, so I want to read the whole series, but it is Scythe by Neal Shusterman. I love Neal Shusterman. I love him. He's one of my favorite authors. I just love him. He writes these kind of dystopian-esque novels. Not all of them, but he puts in a problem in our society and he takes it to the extreme to see what would happen, kind of, if that makes sense. But he has just great commentary, I think, on our world. But this is about a world it's like our world, but it's in the future, where they have cured all illnesses. People don't die. So you can't die. You can literally throw yourself off a bridge. They can save you. No matter what, they can save you, so no one dies. So overpopulation is obscene. I want to say there was even a limit on how many kids you could have in this world. But to control the population, there's this group of people called Scythes, and they have a quota of how many people they kill a year. They can kill them however they want, and they just have to kill X amount of people. So, and they are seen as gods in this world, and people bow down to them even though they kill them. Super weird. But it is seen as an honor, I think, to be killed by them. Yeah, it sucks you're dying, but most of these people have lived 600 years. They've lived a long time. So some people want to die, Some people don't, but I love it. Ooh, I didn't know that. There's another series that he writes on wine that I didn't know about that I really want to read, but that's not what this video is about. There's a lot of political strife in this, and I didn't realize I love politicalness until I read this book. But there are these 2 characters, and they have been tapped by this Scythe, and he is going to train them to be a Scythe. So this whole first book is mostly them training to be a Scythe and learning about the world. But I love it. I don't know. It's a very good series, and I really want to reread it. And they're pretty big. They're chunkers. Oh gosh, I almost dropped it. The next book I want to reread is Dark Places by Gillian. Flynn. She wrote Gone Girl. Haven't read that yet, but I've read this. I really want to say I picked it up at a Walmart randomly, and I love it. It's one of my favorites. This book is about this family. They lived in this house, and a long time ago, the brother was sent to jail for killing his whole family. And so this is but one survived, obviously the brother. And then one of the daughters, or sisters, survived. She jumped out of the window and like they found her later. So this is in the future, or I guess in the present, that was in the past. But there's a bunch of people who think the brother didn't do it. So they're like trying to appeal his case. And she also was like, okay, yeah, I should probably like figure out if my brother did actually kill everyone or not. Because she was super young when it happened. She has no idea what's going on. So now that she's an adult, she wants to figure out, did my brother actually kill him, or was it someone else and he got blamed for it all? So it's going back and forth in time and perspective. So it has like the present time, the main character, I think her name's Libby, or oh my god, her name is Libby. That tells you I liked it. I normally don't remember characters' names, but I remember this. And I read this in like freaking 2017 or something. And I remember specifically, I read it during finals week. Don't know why. And I didn't study for my finals as much as I should have, because I was like all consumed in this book. But I love multiple perspectives, but I also hate them because I wanted one perspective. Like I was so consumed with the one perspective that I would just zoom through the other ones because I just wanted to get back to the one. But they were all good. But it's Libby in the present day of her trying to figure out, like, did my brother kill my whole family? And then there's two more perspectives in the past before the murder happened. Like, I want to say it's like a week or so leading up to the murder. Don't quote me on that. But it's the mother and the son who was convicted of the murder. And so you're just going through trying to see, you know, what happened. Very dark. Very good book. I love it so much. And it's been a long time since I've read it, and I just want to read it again because I do consider it one of my favorite books. And I'm like, wow. Well, I guess all of these are some of my favorite books if I want to reread them, but sometimes I'm like, wow, I read that so long ago. Like, I should reread it to see if it's still actually a favorite book of mine. So when I reread Verity, I was like, yup, still a favorite, still great. This book, A History of Wild Places, I just finished this book this week, but I loved it so much. I already know I'll like want to reread it one day. Like, it was so good. This book is about this author who went missing. She's like a child. She writes children's book. I don't know what I was gonna say. She's a children's author. She went missing, and this detective is hired to find her. And while he's searching for her, he goes missing too. And they're in this like weird community. Then it jumps to this weird community called Pastoral. So when the PI is like talking to this woman's parents, the mom's like, hey, I've heard her mention this place. You should go check it out. So it's him trying to find the place, and then like he does find it, but then it's like him trying to figure out what happened to her and what happened to him, because it's like 7 years since she went missing, and then 2 years since he went missing at one point. That makes it really confusing, but it jumps. So like the first part is the detective, and it's 5 years since the author went missing. But then the second part is like 2 years since he went missing. So then 7 years since she went missing. So then it's trying to figure out what the heck happened. It's kind of a slower book, which I don't normally like, but there was just enough like little breadcrumbs for me to just read through this book really quickly. I really, really, really enjoyed it. I highly recommend it. And there's like a cult kind of in it. Like this community is like one of those communities where everyone does everything for the good of the community. It's like, you know, it's not selfish, kind of like the world we live in today. You don't work for money to buy yourself stuff. You plant stuff for the whole community to eat and survive the winter. You know what I mean? It was really cute. And it used to be people could come and go as they please in this community because it was a choice to leave society as we know it and go live in the middle of this forest pretty much as a community. But then something in the forest is causing people to die and causing trees to die. So then they lock down their borders. People aren't allowed in. People aren't allowed out because they're like once people were leaving, when they would come back, they would die and they would have this disease called The Raw and Everyone Would Die. So that's also in there. And it's very interesting to see like what's causing this disease, like when did it start and all that. Very good. Okay, another book I want to reread, Dark Matter by Blake Crouch. I've talked about Blake Crouch so much because I love him. But I originally listened to this book so long ago, I don't even remember when. I want to say like 2016, 2017. It was a long time ago. I listened to it on Audible, so I've never actually physically read it. So I've been wanting to physically read it for a long time. I got this book this last Christmas, and I want to reread it because I love Blake Crouch. I love this book. And once again, I want to see if I still love it. I know I will. That is about this guy. He is like walking home from like the grocery store one evening, and someone comes behind him and like, I think they like hit him and shove him in a car, and then he wakes up and he, like, his life is different. He's no longer married. He no longer has a kid. He has a different job, and he's just like, what is going on? And then so it's them trying to figure out what's going on. It's a sci-fi thriller. Very good. And then my other book by Blake Crouch, Recursion. This one is another sci-fi thriller. I don't even know how to explain it, to be honest. There's this like memory situation going on in the community. Like people are living their life, but then they have a memory of like, it's their life, but it feels like a past life, if that makes sense. But their memory is different. I don't know how to explain it. They call it like false memories. And then these people are like throwing themselves off of bridges because of it. And it's like this neuroscientist trying to figure out what the heck is happening, because they're having memories of a life that they never lived, but it feels real. I mean, it's a memory. You know what I mean? So it's them trying to figure out what the heck's going on. Very good. Love this book as well. But that's another one I listened to on audio when it came out, so I would love to actually physically read it. Next book is I'm Thinking of Ending Things by Iain Reid. I read this book a while ago, and it's so good. It is the weirdest book. It's just so weird. Like the whole time I was like, what's going on? And I felt so uncomfortable the whole time, and I just love this book, and I really, really, really want to reread it. I have forced many people to read this book. Do not watch the Netflix movie. Do not. It's terrible. Sorry. It's terrible. This book is, you know, book's always better than the movie most of the time, but that movie is awful. Like, it does not do this book justice by any means. Like, if I were to have watched that movie, I'd have been like, I am never reading that book. But luckily, I read the book beforehand, and it's one of my favorite books ever. So just don't watch the movie. Please. Do not do it. Read the book. You can have mine. You can borrow it. It's so good. So good. And then another book, which is slightly surprising, is The Sparrow by Doria Russel. I read this book. I was in a book club with two of my friends, and each month one of us would choose a book. So like I chose the first one, and then my friend Bobby chose the next one, which I believe was this one, and then my friend Caitlin. And then back around, we would like one by one choose it. Didn't last very long, but it's fine. This is the one my friend Bobby Joe chose, and it's like a sci-fi, well, it says speculative fiction with deep philosophical inquiry. And this book was very deep, and it kind of was slow at first. Like I did not like it at first. But I was on vacation in like this cabin in the woods that Joe and I went because we wanted to, it was not after COVID, it was kind of in the middle, but we had just been like, him and I worked a lot through COVID, and we were like, we just want to go into a cabin in the woods, not see anybody for like a weekend. So we did like a 3-day weekend trip in this cabin, and I just read the whole time pretty much. And we took our dog. It was really fun. And I was like, well, I have nothing else to do in this cabin. So I kept pushing through this book. I ended up loving this book. Like, it makes you think. It's so good. I don't know. This book was incredible. I really want to reread it because I still think about it all the time. And I read it in like 2021. Very good. Very good. Very good. It is about this, like, I don't know if this is a spoiler. They lead a scientific mission with a profound task, make first contact with intelligent extraterrestrial life. And so it is this main guy. He is a, like, linguist is what they call it. So he, like, not only speaks a bunch of languages, but he can, like, figure out languages by, like, just speaking to people. I don't know how linguists do it. They're geniuses. But he is a linguist. And there's, like, a scientist, of course. I think a doctor goes with them. But one day, like, they get aliens contact on Earth, and they, like, build a ship to, like, go there, which I don't even remember how they figure out where they're going, but they go there. And so it's them going to this alien planet, meeting these aliens, and all that happens after that. It is just so good. And it's not, like, super, super sci-fi. It is more, it's very character driven, I think, which sometimes isn't my favorite, but I did really like this book. And just the way they built this other planet was really cool, I thought, because it does dive into their, like, culture and everything that these aliens do. I don't know. It's just so good. Like, please read it. It's great. It's great. Next book I want to reread is House of Hollow. I listened to this book pretty recently this year. I think it was earlier this year. So good. I just recently bought it to read it again. It's beautiful. It is about these three sisters. When they're younger, they go missing. They're just, like, walking down the street, and then poof, they're gone. And they're gone for, like, a month. And then they just poof, right back where they went missing a month later. They don't remember it. Nobody knows what the heck happened. So this is, like, in the future. I guess in the present, the older sister goes missing again. So they're, like, the sisters are trying to figure out who took her. Is it have anything to do with who took them before? And so they're just, like, going to her apartment and finding things that will hopefully lead them to her. And it's just really, really, really good. I love this book. It's a YA. I don't know if it's horror. I don't know. They also have the cutest names ever. This girl's name is Iris Hollow. Tell me that's not adorable. But yeah, this book is super, super good. I really, 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 really want to reread it. Obviously, that's what this whole video is about. Okay, now the next series I really want to reread, Harry Potter. I know. I read these growing up. I think it was middle school I read them. Loved them, of course. Love the movies. Freaking love Harry Potter. Harry Potter World made me cry my little eyeballs out. I love Harry Potter. And I just really want to reread them. It's been so long. Man. When was I in middle school, people? How long are you in high school? 4 years. That is sad. I couldn't remember that. So, like, 2008, 2009, I read these. So it's been a long ass time. And I really want to reread them. I should have reread them this fall, because fall is, like, perfect Harry Potter time. But I always felt guilty rereading books, because I'm like, well, look at all these other books I have that I haven't read. So I feel rude. So I feel so guilty rereading books. But like I said earlier, like, I kind of want to reread them when I'm in a slump to get me out of this slump. I think that is something that would help, you know, because it helped me earlier this month. So that's kind of why I'm doing this. Make a list of books that I would love to reread to get me out of slumps in the future. These are also just some of my favorite books, honestly. Like, instead of doing a video of my favorite books, here they are mostly. But of course the Harry Potter series is a classic. I'm not going to tell you what it's about. If you don't know what Harry Potter is about, what the heck? What the heck? But those are all the books that I would love to reread one day. We'll see if I ever do, when I ever do. But thank you so much for watching. I really, really appreciate it. Please leave comments down below. I love, love, love talking to you guys. Bye. Have a great day.